His MVP. Golf swung, right field. Forget about it. Rangers strike first. Goes after the first one. Drills a high fly ball. Left center field. This game is tied. From Javier. Seager hits a high fly ball. Deep right field. A bomb into first. One swing. Drive. It's tied. Seager smashes the ball down the line. Goodbye. Now Seager to right center field, way back there. Gone again. Corey Seager does it again. It's Texas Rangers win the World Series. The Willie Mays Most Valuable Player Trophy presented by Chevrolet. Is there any doubt? Corey Seager.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you after a series win over the Halos, a 5-1 homestand. Jeez, who thought 20 runs in a game? Like the one time I don't go live, we're at 20 runs in one game. It's crazy. Honestly, crazy. You know what else is crazy? Micah Parsons getting traded. Parsons going to the Packers. Did not have that one on my bingo card. Micah Parsons heading to the Packers for Kenny Clark, defensive tackle, and a 26 and 27 first-round pick. We'll talk a little Micah Parsons eventually, I'm sure. I know a lot of y'all obviously very interested in the NFL. Some Cowboys fans, some maybe Cowboys haters out there too. Everybody's welcome. But let's talk a little Rangers first. Clearly Monday night, I think we had all had a healthy dose of depression after Monday night's debacle against the Halos. And Tuesday, Wednesday went a whole lot better. Patrick Corbin, 8 shutout innings before things got a little bit interesting in the ninth with the bullpen. Texas would eventually win 7-3. And then last night's ball game. 20 runs. Now, obviously, Halos had not their best out there at the very end, but you know what? You take it however you can. And the Rangers took advantage and were able to complete a 5-1 homestand. Pretty incredible. I mean, when you just say it like that, a 5-1 homestand, I think you have to say mission accomplished. Mission accomplished in a 5-1 homestand now is where it really gets tough. You lose Corey Seager. You've already lost Nathan Eovaldi for the season. Corey Seager, I would imagine, probably like Evo, will be available maybe in October. Maybe not. I'm not sure what the prognosis is. I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's hard not to feel like the towel is getting thrown in a little bit with some of these injuries. I'm not going to lie to you. It's hard not to feel that way. Like when the Evo news came in, I think pretty instantly, that's how it hit me. Are we throwing in the towel right now? Are we done? And then Corey Seager, the news comes out after 2 days in a row, 2 games in a row, Corey Seager going deep. I definitely am happy about the series win. I think that the Rangers can get some dubs in Sacramento and in Phoenix. I think they can do it. I look at the schedule. I still think that they might be able to make it interesting here, but how long can you actually sustain that, right? That is the question. Is it sustainable? And I don't know the answer to that. I think you're going to have to watch it play out. Absolutely going to have to see how the team responds in Sacramento this weekend. Then they go to Arizona for a 3-game set. Then you got Houston back at home. It's going to be an interesting next 10 days. It really is. You got college football heating up. That should be interesting. Texas versus Ohio State this Saturday. Looking forward to that one. I'm sure this Micah Parsons thing is going to get hashed out about 1 million times over tomorrow. I'll throw my 2 cents into the ring here pretty quickly. But first of all, I appreciate all y'all hanging out. Little off-day show. And I had a crazy last 2 days. A lot of fun, busy, but just a very, very hectic last 2 days. Yesterday, some of y'all know I do some coaching, some football in the fall, and then slowed down a little bit on the baseball coaching since starting up right on Rangers. So I can kind of pour a little bit more into the show, into the channel. But look, we had a scrimmage last night, went real well. Excited about the team's prospects for this year. Wish I could say the exact same thing about the Cowboys and the Rangers the rest of the way. But we're going to dive into a little bit of everything here. We're going to dive into a little bit of everything. Look, let me start with this. Just based on the comments, I'll start with my Parsons take. And then I'm going to get into a little bit of Rangers and a little bit of preview of the series this weekend. Jack Leiter on the bump tomorrow night. Look, Micah Parsons is obviously one of the best defenders in the NFL. There's no denying that. No denying his impact. Teams obviously pay him a ton of attention. It impacts the game in many different ways, even if he's not always getting sacks, getting quarterback hurries, getting quarterback hits. That being said, I think that it's fair to say the Cowboys missed their opportunity with Micah Parsons probably a couple of seasons ago. Micah Parsons, I think you could have extended for a lot cheaper. I would say even a year ago. I don't think Micah Parsons gets 47, 48 million if you extend him a year ago. I don't think that he's going to be that expensive if you get this done last summer. That being said, I don't want to pay Micah Parsons $48 million a year or $47 million a year, whatever it is. I think that is a ridiculous amount of money to pay for an edge rusher. Now, edge rushers clearly impact the game in a lot of different ways, and Micah Parsons is a versatile player. That's almost 20% of your cap paying an edge rusher. I mean, look, not quite quarterback money, but right there. Like, it's the Cowboys' fault the price got up that high. Don't get it twisted. It's the Cowboys' fault. They should have never let the price get up that high. But if you just frame this within the context of what the price is right now, I can't blame them for not paying the $48 million. I don't think that it's wise to do so with one player on defense. And I hate to break it to everybody that is totally trashing the Cowboys right now. I think you really have to look at Micah Parsons' play in some of the big games over the past 2 or 3 seasons against the Cowboys, or with the Cowboys in the playoffs especially. I think the stat that stood out to me the most is 1 sack in 4 playoff games. Micah Parsons, if you actually have watched, I know he's on the podcast a lot, there is a tendency to disappear in big moments. There's absolutely a tendency to disappear in big moments for Micah Parsons. If you've been watching the Cowboys, I know this is going to sound like hate to any casual. If you've watched, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Even Micah Parsons himself admitted at the end of that run 2 years ago where the Cowboys got absolutely decimated by the Packers at home. Anybody that watched that season and actually listened to Micah Parsons, Parsons was gassed at the end of that year. Parsons was constantly taking himself out of plays in that season. Constantly. And he didn't show up at all against Green Bay, and it was a big reason why we got blown out. Jordan Love had all day to throw. I think Micah Parsons had 1 quarterback hurry in 18 or 19 rush attempts. We're talking about the Green Bay game 2 years ago where the Cowboys got embarrassed at home. Micah Parsons has 1 sack in 4 playoff games. I know we can talk about the regular season, the numbers, and that's outstanding. Can you also throw out that Micah Parsons played until Jaden Daniels got to Washington against 2 of the worst teams in the NFL, in the Giants and the Commanders, for most of his career? Until Jaden Daniels got to Washington, Washington was a tire fire. You were playing against the Giants and the Commanders 4 times. Now, look, I know that's just one small piece of the pie here, but I don't care about the regular season numbers. I care about the playoffs. And if you've watched every Cowboys game over the last 2 or 3 years, when we're playing the 49ers, when we're playing the Packers in the playoffs, Micah Parsons has not shown up. He has not shown up. And it hurts to say that because I really enjoy watching Micah Parsons play the game. He's such a dynamic back. He can be so good at times and so dominant. But then in these big moments, again, think about the San Francisco games, both in Santa Clara and at Cowboy Stadium. You can't think of memorable Micah Parsons moments from those games. You just can't. And that to me is what shines out the most. I know that it's the super trendy thing to do right now to absolutely crap on the Cowboys. You see it nonstop. Everybody hopping on the train. And to me, when everybody's doing one thing, there's probably a little bit more to the other side of the story. And I actually think that the Cowboys did okay with this trade. I don't think it's good to pay $48 million for an edge rusher. Shame on the Cowboys for letting it get that expensive. They could have probably had him maybe even for high 30s money, which wouldn't have been as bad. I like the cap space. I like the flexibility. Who knows what they're going to do with it? That's the problem. Like, in a vacuum, this might be a smart move, but what are the Cowboys actually going to do with it? That's my big thing. Are they actually going to use the first round picks wisely? Are you going to draft well? That's been a problem for the Cowboys. So even if you like the move, not signing Parsons, freeing up some cap space, are the Cowboys actually going to do the right thing with it? That is the biggest question, I think, from this Micah Parsons trade. Anybody that's absolutely crapping on the trade like it's the worst thing ever, touch some grass, baby. Touch some grass. It's not the worst trade ever. This isn't Luka getting traded to the Lakers. Anybody comparing? Like, I saw the Luka 2.0 tweets. Are we kidding? This is nowhere near Luka 2.0. And I know that people are saying best defensive player in the game, so value. You don't trade your best player. Micah Parsons, how big was the impact when it mattered in the playoffs? How is the impact in the regular season? How can that be weighed against the absolute clunkers that Parsons had in the playoffs? 1 sack in 4 playoff games. I'm sorry. I don't care how much rush you get on the quarterback. You have 1 sack in 4 playoff games? Appreciate that, Maggie. In the last playoff game against Green Bay, you had 1 quarterback hurry and almost 20 rush attempts? Look, Antonio, I'm with you. I think that he's top 5. I don't think he's necessarily best defensive player in the game. I know that's kind of getting thrown out there today. Look, I think the Cowboys did all right. They are going to be better defending the run. And it is true. Micah Parsons was not helpful in defending the run. He was good at rushing the quarterback and creating havoc in the pass block. But I cannot say that Micah Parsons helped us stop the run. Again, if you've watched Cowboys games, you know this. You know this. You know that Micah Parsons is a dynamic player, but you know that we got gashed in the run. And Micah Parsons did not do a whole lot to help. I do 100% think that Kenny Clark helps us with the run game. If you've watched the Kenny Clark tape, we're getting a really good player. I mean, look, again, nowhere near Luka trade. Anybody saying that, touch some grass, man. Like, it's nowhere near the Luka trade. You got 2 first-round picks, first of all. The Mavericks didn't pull that off. Kenny Clark is not Micah Parsons, but Kenny Clark is a really outstanding player that is going to help you achieve your goal of being better against the rush. And you avoided paying Micah Parsons a large amount of money, investing nearly 1/5 of your cap space into Micah Parsons. I do not think was a wise move. Now, look, Green Bay's getting a great player. I've had some Packers fans text me and ask me, what do I think from the Green Bay side of things? I think Green Bay's getting a great player. I do wonder what's going to happen in those playoff months, January, February, if it gets that far. Micah Parsons, great during the regular season, dominating games in the regular season, pretty quiet in the postseason. That's what matters the most. And you look at some other teams around the league, this is not an unprecedented move. Trading a high-profile player to rebuild in other areas. Again, what are the Cowboys going to do with it? Think about the Chiefs. The Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill, got picks, reloaded in some other places, and then they went on to win 2 Super Bowls in a row. Now, I'm not saying that the Cowboys are destined for that. Don't Don't quote or twist any of those words, but this is not unprecedented. Teams will trade top players like this in order to reload in other areas and avoid paying a big-time salary. And quite simply, be super tied up in one player that may or may not have an overall huge impact on the goals of your season. I don't think the Cowboys' odds to get to the playoffs got any worse trading Micah Parsons. Maybe that's a hot take to you. I don't think the Cowboys' odds to make the playoffs got any worse with this trade. Tell me if I'm wrong. Do you really feel like we just got worse in terms of our odds making it to the playoffs? I don't think so. I think you actually have a good defensive tackle now that can cause some havoc in the run game. And you know what? You've got guys like Overshown that can still mix it up. You can mix in past edge rushers on the outside, keep guys fresh. When you have this D tackle in the middle, it can open up a lot of things for you on the defensive line. So I'm actually kind of excited to see how it plays out. I got to be honest with you, too. There was a little bit too much drama for me with Parsons. I like Micah, and I love the dynamic nature of his game, but the podcast, the whining, the antics, think about the preseason, the taking a nap on the trainer's table. I mean, look, maybe you don't care about that, and that's your prerogative. I do. I don't love seeing that kind of stuff. And I know he was a little checked out doing the hold-in thing. I get it. I mean, that's his image that he's trying to portray. But I'm okay. It feels a little bit like you're dumping off some drama. Micah was becoming, I think, a little bit of a diva. And I don't know how you can deny that. If you really love Micah Parsons and you think that he's hung the moon, I guess you're going to be talking to a wall on this one. I don't know how you can deny Micah Parsons was becoming a bit of a diva in his last years in Dallas. The comments, the whining, the stuff on the podcast here and there. Look, I've got a podcast. Have a podcast. It's your thing. I mean, it's a little different when you're doing professional sports along the way as well. But I will say this. I'm a little bit relieved that we don't have the drama anymore hanging around the club with Micah. That was just going to be a story that festered forever into the season. And so, look, I know that was long. I'm willing to take your guys' comments on it, but I'm okay with the move. I think that anybody that's going way far, it's the worst trade ever, is just looking for clicks at this point. We keep going. Appreciate all y'all. Both first-round picks, I think it's 26 and 27, Ryan. Good to see you, my guy. I love you, buddy. I think it's 26 and 27 is what I heard. 26 and 27. If Jerry was even slightly competent, Micah wouldn't even be doing half those things. I'm happy with the move, Tommy says. Appreciate you, Tommy. Jamie, what's good, man? 26 and 27, yeah. Look, I don't want this to be a dump on Micah Parsons rant. It's not. I think he's a great player. I think I gave him a lot of respect. I think he's a top 5 defensive player in the league. I do. Now, could we throw in regular season, top 5 regular season defensive player? I think based on the track record, yes. Micah Parsons has not been a dominant playoff player. When the Cowboys have needed him to step up the most, games against the 49ers in the playoffs, games against the Packers, bro has disappeared. And it feels a little bit like they've almost been able to cook up a scheme against him. Like, is he a player that you can scheme out of production? I think those questions need to still be there for Micah until he can prove that he can dominate at the highest level. Antonio, that's how I feel. Playoff odds stay the same, man. We're not getting any worse in the playoff odds department with this trade. I think the Cowboys for the better deal. Look, I don't want to be biased. I don't necessarily think, man, we cooked them with this trade. We got the way better deal. I don't want to go that far. But what I do want to say is you didn't have to pay a fifth of your salary cap to one player that has questionable impact on your long-term goals for a season, which is obviously winning a championship, making the playoffs, all that good stuff. Micah Parsons is one piece. And look, they've done a lot of analysis on this. There's definitely something to be said about paying your secondary a little bit more than you pay an edge rusher. Edge rushers are getting paid right now. PFF has done some studies on this. I don't know how much you buy into PFF. I do subscribe to them and enjoy their content. I don't think everything they touch turns to gold. But there is an argument, and I've heard this get stronger and stronger, that it's actually the secondary players that you should be trying to pay a little bit more. The edge rushers, those things can be a little bit interchangeable. Now, I don't think edge rushers have no value at all. I think they actually have a lot of value. But I don't think paying an edge rusher quarterback money is smart. I really don't. All right, we keep rolling. Appreciate all y'all hanging out. Thank you for the follows, by the way. Look, I am going to do a lot more Cowboys content as the season starts cooking up. Obviously, you guys know who have been around for a while. It's Rangers first and foremost, probably Cowboys, and then Longhorns, and then Mavericks in that order if I had to tell you priority. So we're going to be doing a lot more football content. I'll have a Longhorns reel out before the big game on Saturday. Looking forward to that. Obviously, the Cowboys got a little bit of time here before the season gets rolling. And like I said, I'm glad that this Parsons drama has been put to bed. Let the media crap on the Cowboys for a few days. It's going to happen. Tomorrow, it's all they're going to be talking about. Let everybody crap on the Cowboys, and then let's just play football, baby. Let's just play football. I said it to y'all during the summer. I'm so tired of all this stupid drama. You're seeing all these dumb Jerry Jones interviews left and right. Let's just play football, man. That's what I want to see. I want to see games. I want to start talking about games. I'm tired of talking about drama. Tired of talking about what Micah Parsons is doing, reading into his every little body language movement. I'm tired of that, man. So tired of that. I'm so glad that the games are actually going to be starting soon. I cannot wait to start diving into performances. Look, I'm not guaranteeing anything for the Cowboys this year. I think I could see them going something like 7-10. I could see them going 9-8. I don't know they get to double-digit wins. I think it's going to be tough. I sure hope they do. Clearly, I'm not rooting against it. But I'm just ready for football. And I cannot wait for this Saturday. It's nice to have college football on tonight. Love it. Football's in the air. And look, baseball, obviously, we are still going to be covering our Rangers till the bitter end. Off day today. Good day to kind of talk a little bit of Cowboys as well with the Micah Parsons deal. We'll talk a little bit of Rangers still too. So all y'all primarily here for Rangers. We're getting there. We're absolutely going to get there. But as the season really gets into full effect, we will start doing dedicated shows. Cowboys, Longhorns, Rangers. And sometimes, depending on the day, we might have to blend it a little bit. But I'm looking forward to starting to do some of those. It's going to be great. It is going to be great. We keep rolling. Arch to the Cowboys. Dre, I don't think there's a chance that we are worse than some of those other teams, man. The Saints with Spencer Rattler, man. I don't think the Cowboys are going to do worse. And I really do feel like Arch Manning, and this leads well into my Longhorns content. This is another thing. I told y'all, people love hating on the Cowboys. People love throwing out that the Cowboys are making the worst moves, and this was a terrible trade, and blah, blah, blah. It's just the trendy thing to do, man. It gets clicks, and it's all you hear people doing. It's very rare you see people pushing back in a positive way, like I'm trying to do, and I know people are just going to call me a homer, but it's just following the crowd. It's just a lot of sheep following the big heads on TV talking, and everybody likes to crap on the Cowboys, man. Kind of same thing with Texas. Arch Manning, everybody saying Arch is overrated. I mean, look, we'll see. I mean, that's all I got to say. We'll see. I really do feel like Arch is going to have a great year, and I see him going number one in the draft next year. I think that's pretty inevitable. I don't think the Cowboys are going to be in any position to get Arch Manning. If they did, I'd love it, but I don't think they're going to be in any position to make that happen. I don't think that the Packers' first-round picks are going to tempt whoever is number one to get out of that spot in order to, have the Cowboys pick Arch Manning. I'm not there on that one. We keep going. James, look, Jerry is not my favorite either. He's not my favorite either. I love the Cowboys. But no, I'm not the biggest Jerry Jones fan by any means, by any stretch. Sadly, it's not going to get a whole lot better. I mean, it's just getting passed off to Steven, and Steven is about maybe, I don't even know what to think. Maybe slightly better in terms of public image, but I don't necessarily think better in terms of moves. I think there's actually a lot that you could point to that Steven has been engineering quite a few of the Cowboys moves. I do think last season we talked about this. I think it's a lot more Steven at this point than Jerry actually making meaningful decisions. Yes, Jerry's out there as the mouthpiece. Jerry's out there for the interviews. I actually think it's Steven who's more pulling the strings behind the scenes than anybody. So Jerry's going to take the fall. Jerry's going to be the guy that everybody points at. I actually feel like Steven is more the one that's calling the shots behind the scenes and overriding a little bit. I don't think it's Jerry with final say. That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree, but I can't say I'm super excited for when Steven fully takes over either. All right. What do we got? Jerry Jones to the Eagles for A.J. Brown and Jalen Carter. Frankie, nice. Manning family said he isn't coming out this year. Well, that would actually be wise. I think he probably would do well to get 2 years starting at Texas. And selfishly, I'd love to see it. Selfishly, I would love to have Arch there for 2 years. 100%. Yeah, Dre, look, the real ones know, right? The real ones know, my guy. Thanks for all the comments today, by the way. Appreciate you, brother. But a lot of people always blaming Jerry. Jerry is just the guy they put up there for the interviews. I really do feel like if you've done any digging into it, Steven is the guy. And I don't think it gets a whole lot better when Jerry finally decides to step away or when the good Lord calls him home. I don't think that it's going to improve a whole lot, man. All right. More on the Cowboys maybe a little bit later in the show. I'm going to have a reel out probably tomorrow on Parsons. So please go like it. If you disagree, chime in. Y'all know we don't shy away from any disagreements here on the show. We're never going to see eye to eye perfectly on everything, but that's the beauty of this channel. I love the back and forths, and most of us keep it respectful, and that's a part of being a fan, man. That's what makes being a fan fun. Going back and forth with your buddies. You don't always agree on everything. I love it. It's why I've started this show, man. I don't want just an echo chamber. If you don't agree, say it. It doesn't mean I'm going to see your side per se, and you don't have to see mine, but I love going back and forth, trading ideas. Big reason why I started this thing in the first place, man. So know how much I appreciate all y'all, the comments, and like I said, the Parsons video will probably be out tomorrow. I got to start warming up, y'all. When you start making this NFL content, the crazies start coming out. You know what I mean? We talked about this. The football season starts up. I gotta ramp it up a little bit with the thick skin, man. People come at you hard. It's all good. I remember when I first started this, it was a little wild out there. You're just not expecting it. Now you kind of know what to expect a little bit more, but still, it never ceases to amaze me. People come out with fire whenever you have an NFL pick they don't agree with, or an NFL take, I should say. Appreciate you. All right, let's talk Rangers. Let's talk a little bit of Rangers here. And we definitely have already kind of breached a couple of topics, but the Corey Seager news is devastating. I hate that the Rangers lost Corey Seager. Sounded like he was actually playing through the injury, and I think that there is a chance that he comes back. I think the Rangers probably could tread water here. I think if you win the series coming up against the A's and you win the series against the Diamondbacks, you truly got to just see where things are at. But you do start playing some tough series. And if you don't have the pitching against some of these tough ball clubs, it is going to be an uphill battle. You don't have Evo. That is big. You hope that you could maybe get him back later on if the Rangers, by some miracle, are able to make it to the playoffs. But it is not a foregone conclusion. I feel like the Seager news was really deflating, but then you look up and it's still that 4.5 game, and you're just like, they could do it. I want to still believe, but taking these hits, Carter, Evo, Seager, and then you've still got some guys that are out on the IL anyways as it is. Malley, Berger. I would love, absolutely would love for the Rangers to overcome, do the impossible, and make it really interesting late. But I just feel like at this point, they are hanging on by a thread. And once that thread breaks, it might start looking ugly pretty quickly. But hopefully they can just hang on to that thread for the next 3-4 weeks, and it can be a really fun month of September. But I just have a feeling when that thread snaps, it is going to be ugly. I hope it doesn't get there, but that is kind of in my heart of hearts what I am feeling at this moment in time. And I know it's just a little emotional with the Seager news. It's just disappointing. It's still fresh. The Evo news hurt. I was so glad they won the couple of games coming out of that injury news. Nathan Eovaldi most likely done for the season, barring a fairly deep October run by the Rangers. A's coming up next. House of Horrors in the Northwest, always. That's another thing that just has me a little bit uneasy. Rangers have just never played well going up to the Northwest. I hope that they can buck that trend, but it has felt like almost every series they go up there, there's trouble. How is Malley out for the year? He barely did anything. Well, look, I just think at this point they're going to baby Tyler Malley. I think right now everybody can sense it's teetering back and forth, and I think they're just kind of going to be holding until there's one definitive direction. Rangers start losing a couple games in a row. Don't be shocked if you hear the Tyler Malley out for the season news. Rangers shutting down Tyler Malley. I don't know why you would throw him, why you would pitch him. He's going to be a free agent. There's no reason to rush it. So I think they are just totally waiting to see what happens with the Rangers over the next week. Do they just kind of keep doing this, winning, but then other teams win? Do they go on a 3 or 4 game losing skid and then the decision becomes really easy? I am a little bit unhopeful that Tyler Malley is going to be back in a Rangers uni. Yeah, look, TLC, thank you so much. This was actually one of my real concepts that I was cooking up. And look, it's been a crazy busy week, but so I just haven't been able to make a lot of my usual TikToks and shorts, but I'm going to get back into it. You know, everybody at the beginning of the season would always get on me, literally every live, whenever I would just even speak out loud the slightest negativity or criticism about the team. And everybody would always tell you, it's 1 month. Bro, it's April. Bro, it's May. And you're like, bro, you don't get it. When you're at the end of the season, you look back on all those games where you were sitting around trying to tell me how long the season is, and they're the reason why we're not in a playoff spot. You got swept by the Royals at home when they were on a 6-game losing streak. Those are the games. You blew a bunch of games down in Tampa that you could have won. Remember some of those games down in Tampa? It's like there are so many games like that. You know, the White Sox, we dropped some games to the White Sox. It's like I could go on, and people would just keep telling you, it's early. And stop being so negative, bro. Dude, we know better. If you've watched as faithfully as some of us have, you know better. You know that it always comes down to a couple of games at the end of the year. Almost always. And here we are again. Hope Sieg's appendix isn't ruptured. Any rupture, never fun. No, absolutely not. Natalie, good to see you. Appreciate the comments tonight. Brian, I'm with you. You never know. You never know what could happen. It could end up being a really fun weekend and then a really fun 3-day series in Phoenix. Maybe the Rangers go like 5-1 and just totally get right back into the playoff mix. And then you go play Houston, and you have an opportunity to make even more of a dent. Look, you look around, and here's kind of what needs to happen. A couple of you guys were kind of asking me, what has to happen here? you have to have a really good Jack Leiter down the stretch. Like, if the Rangers have any chance, Jack Leiter has got to do very similar to what he did his last time out, nearly every start the rest of the season. Jack Leiter has to become as Nathan Eovaldi-like as he possibly can be. I think if Leiter is not, even if he is not close to the version that we got in his last start, I don't see us getting to the postseason. If Leiter can kind of take the reins and really step into that number 2 role behind DeGrom, you're looking potentially at a little bit of a different story here. But if Leiter continues to do this up-down thing, I just don't see it happening. I don't think you're going to get 8 shutout innings from Pat Corbin every time out either. I was really impressed by Pat's start a couple of nights ago because he had a rough month of baseball. The ERA was atrocious over his last 7 games. I think we looked it up. Pat Corbin, going into his start on Tuesday, Pat Corbin had a 6+ ERA in his last 7 starts. Then he goes out and throws 8 shutout against the Angels, and the Angels had raked against Patrick Corbin. We were reading out some of the numbers, Patrick Corbin against the Angels lineup, and you guys, you don't hear this very much from me, but I literally told y'all straight up, I don't feel great about this Patrick Corbin game. We had just come off of a loss on Monday. I don't feel very good about this Pat Corbin start. The Angels rake off of this guy. And he came out, did the exact opposite of what I thought he was going to do because baseball, right? So we'll see if Pat Corbin can keep it up. You just almost have to have literally 0 margin of error with all of your pitchers. All your pitchers got to be what they were back in April and May when everybody was untouchable. I just don't know if we're going to be getting that consistency or not. I think that Jack Leiter very easily could go out and have 3 or 4 really, really good starts down the stretch. And maybe the Rangers are able to hang around and make it interesting late in September. But if Leiter cannot get consistency, I have a hard time believing that the Rangers make a lot of noise. We keep going. Let's see. What do I got? Swolger, what's good, my guy? Good to see you. I think the only way in the West is through Houston. You go head-to-head. Yeah, the Mariners, though, right? I mean, we beat up on Houston. The Mariners keep winning. It's tough. But you can only take care of business against who you got on the schedule in front of you. I mean, look, think about bringing up the Mariners. Think about all of those extra inning games we lost in Arlington. That was a huge series. You lost some games in Seattle as well that you could have won. Langford does have to turn into Corey Seager 2.0. You've got to have a locked-in Wyatt Langford. Without Corey Seager, Langford has to be the elite version that you got really the last couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. Langford has to step into that role. Jock Peterson has to step up. He has got to start hitting consistently, and I feel like he has been hitting the ball well. There's a lot that has to go their way. It can absolutely happen, but if I'm putting percentages on it, I wouldn't say likely. Am I going to still watch and cheer it on to the bitter end? Absolutely. And we'll be here after every game, as many as we possibly can do within our reason. We'll be here, but the Rangers have a lot of work to do. Corbin might as well be Rangers Player of the Year. Gutsy games this year. Look, obviously with Evo season, I get the sentiment 100%, my guy. I mean, Evo season, I think he'll probably end up being Player of the Year in some regard. I don't know. Maybe depending on DeGrom's finish, you give Pitcher of the Year to DeGrom. But Corbin has been great for signing in the middle of spring training and being a 5th starter. I think by and large, you'll take exactly what you're getting from Pat Corbin. Yeah, it's still on the offense. I'm with you on this. Corbin's start was incredible. Natalie, my thoughts exactly. It's Jack and it's Wyatt. If those guys can really be, I don't want to use the word elite, but very much above average, that will make a huge difference. We will know quickly whether or not there will be a postseason chance. I think if you go 4-2, you're still in it. If you split and the Mariners continue to win ball games, it's going to be tough. But I do think if you go 4-2, you're still in it. It's not over. But if you go 3-3 or you lose this away road trip, it's going to be really, really tough, especially if the teams ahead of you keep doing what they're doing, which is winning. All this with a manager that's already checked out. Brian, shots fired. Appreciate what Boch did, but he's already heading to San Fran. I did get those reports. Look, I don't know how accurate they are, Brian. I mean, I saw the same thing you did, but I find it hard to believe that he's ready to go to San Fran. I don't know, man. I just don't know if I see it. I'm not really 100% sure if I really put a lot of stock in him going and returning there, but maybe. Maybe. I think that is kind of a feel-good story. Giants fans would love to see it. I don't know how realistic it actually is. Wyatt is kind of the biggest name we got on the offensive side. DeGrom, obviously the biggest guy we got on the pitching side. But, yeah, I mean, Wyatt is definitely the best bat at this point. But yeah, you're going to need elite Doley, elite Jock Peterson, elite Wyatt Langford. Antonio, that's kind of where I'm at too. 4-2 every week. And if you can do some more 5-1s, that would be incredible. Between Corbin and DeGrom, given their past, who has performed better than what you expected? I don't think DeGrom has had a stellar year. Hard for me to say he hasn't had a stellar year with the sub-3 ERA, TLC. And when you consider, I mean, let's really frame this, my guy, okay? I don't think a lot of people really expected Jacob DeGrom to make it through the season. If you're being honest with yourself, did you really think that Jacob DeGrom was going to make it through the season? Because all I heard was that Jacob DeGrom was just a walking injury report, right? That's all I heard going into the year. I had good buddies that were convinced he wasn't going to pitch more than 15 games. Jacob DeGrom has held up incredibly well. And so I don't think that we can poo-poo Jacob DeGrom and what he's done this year. Is it DeGrom like every single time? Is he going up and throwing 7 scoreless like it's, 2015? No, he's not. Does he have a sub-3 ERA and still look really dominating at times? Yes. Now, that being said, I didn't expect anything from Pat Corbin. So maybe by virtue of the question, I agree with you, but I just don't think we can sleep on DeGrom. I think if a lot of Rangers fans are being honest, most of us thought he would probably be on the IL multiple times. He has been the only guy that really hasn't done that yet. Knock on wood. Knock on wood, man. Antonio, are you talking about DeGrom or are you talking about Corbs? Yeah. Look, Zeke has been incredible, John, and we've been hard on Zeke here at Right on Rangers. We've been hard on him on the show. And look, rightly so. The average was like at $125 at one point this year. It was at $125. He has been hitting well. He needs to be playing every day. And now that you have Corey Seager out, there's no reason why Zeke Duran, as long as he's hitting well, shouldn't be playing every day. I know that they're going to do the Smith, Duran, Freeman rotation. Good. You're going to get to see a lot of young guys. And I think that only works positively for guys like Cody Freeman. Yeah, Antonio, you were spot on, baby. You were spot on. And look, I thought DeGrom would have a good run this year. I didn't think he was going to have a ton of injury issues coming off of that surgery. Usually you do have some good years. You get the second Tommy John, and then you have some good years afterwards. Look, does it always work out long term? The arm holds up? No, not always. But Jacob DeGrom is 37 years old. So I do think that if you think about the fact that a lot of people probably didn't expect Jacob DeGrom to be healthy the entire year, he's probably exceeded some expectations. We keep on going. Appreciate all y'all. DeGrom's recent history backed up those predictions, but good on him for still standing and having a sub-3 ERA. I mean, this guy's good. He's had a great year. Yes, we would love for him to have stepped up in some big moments. Look, Monday night, you've got to have a win Monday night. Like DeGrom not being DeGrom on Monday is hurtful. We could have had a 6-0 homestand if DeGrom doesn't come out and do what he did. But that being said, the Rangers offense didn't score that game. So it's hard to get on DeGrom too much for Monday when the offense puts up a goose egg. DeGrom has definitely had starts where you would love to see him come out and throw up a 0, and he just doesn't have his stuff. And that's what happened on Monday night. You would have loved, after a 3-game sweep, Monday you're playing the Angels, you got DeGrom on the mound, you're going 4 in a row. And it just wasn't meant to be. Yeah, look, I absolutely was crushed hearing the Eovaldi news, man. This is hilarious, by the way. I was crushed hearing the Eovaldi news. It just felt like, you just a kick where the sun don't shine. You just getting some momentum. You won 3 over the weekend against the Guardians, who were immediately ahead of you. You had obviously a chance with DeGrom to go 4 in a row. It didn't happen. I'm so glad that they got those 2 wins, even with the crushing news that the best pitcher you've had all year long is not going to be available all season. I think the Rangers, look, they showed some fight. They showed some heart. They showed some resilience. They could have totally rolled over on Tuesday and Wednesday. They didn't. They came out and they won 2 games in a row and won the series. Yeah, look, Evo probably should have had something like 15. I think he probably could have gotten to 15. And I do think that this is accurate as well, TLC. I think we have wasted some brilliant pitching performances, and that is going to be a big reason why the Rangers make changes in the offseason. It's going to be a big reason why they do that. My fantasy baseball team was crushed hearing the Evo news. I'm sorry, my guy. I don't have Evo on my fantasy baseball team, but I've got a couple of buddies that do, and right when you're down this stretch in playoffs, right, this is playoff mode in fantasy baseball, at least you're starting to get there depending on the league you're in. Very hurtful. Seager okay? No. Seager is going to be out for a little while. So we'll have to monitor Corey Seager, the appendix, the news. But Seag's having a lot of trouble with that core midsection area, man. Feel for the guy. I really do. Feel for him. You feel? Yeah, I saw that, John. I really did. That dude, that is brutal. I don't even know what the chances of that are. 3 times in a row. Maybe y'all saw that. The umpire got hit where the sun don't shine like 3 times in a row within like a 5-minute period. Like it almost, you're like, is this fake? Like, did somebody AI this? Because 3 times in a row, brutal. I wonder, Brian, I don't think it would have been 20, and it's hard to do like the butterfly effect thing with baseball, if this, then I just don't know if you can totally say it, but I think he definitely gets over 15 wins with an even somewhat competent offense. Keep rolling. Been a very rough week. 100% this has been a rough week injury-wise. You lost Evan Carter to the hit by pitch. You lost Evo. You lose Corey Seager, your best hitter. Your best pitcher and your best hitter in the same week is just never going to go over well. Never. Look, let's go ahead and let's look at the series for tomorrow. I already got it pulled up. Former Ranger, by the way, Jeffrey Springs, lefty, pitching tomorrow. I told y'all the other night, it was Monday night, my last show before a couple of days off. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would ever be excited for a lefty lineup. The lefty lineup has been crushing it. So I'm actually good. I mean, Springs has had an up and down year. He's 10-8 with a 4.15 ERA. And you look at his last 7 games, he's got a 4.84 ERA. So this isn't the same guy that down in Tampa Bay was dominating before he got injured. Look, Jeffrey Springs for the Rangers did not pan out, showed some promise here and there, but went to Tampa Bay and was killing it before some long-term injuries really derailed him. But up in Sacramento, he has been a little bit up and down. He gave up 5 runs a couple starts ago against the Angels. His last start against Seattle, 5 1/3, 1 earned. Look, his start 2 times ago against Tampa Bay, 3 1/3, 4 earned runs. So he's given up 10 earned runs in his last 13 or 14 innings. So it would appear like we're catching Jeffrey Springs at a decent time. We'll see what ends up happening in the game. By the way, the Rangers against Springs, Adolis Garcia 1 for 8, Jonah Heim 0 for 2, Michael Hellman 1 for 2, Kyle Higashioka 1 for 5, Josh Young 2 for 6 with a bomb, Wyatt Langford 1 for 3. Osuna has not had an at-bat against Springs in his career. That makes sense. Jock Peterson 1 for 2. We won't see Corey, obviously, but he was 2 for 6 with a bomb against Springs in his career. Josh Smith 0 for 2, and Rowdy Tellez 1 for 1. Hey, that reminds me, what were y'all talking about with Josh Smith earlier in the chat? I feel like I gotta scroll back and see what y'all were talking about here. What was going on with Josh Smith earlier in the chat? Some drama with his wife. What was happening? What was all that about? I'm still scrolling back. Y'all tell me. Give me the update. What was the Josh Smith drama that was going on? I don't know. Y'all let me know what it was. Refresh me on that. Mac, what's good, man? Baby mama drama. Yikes. What was the reasoning, Antonio? Give me the gist of it, man. All right, let's see. Austin, did I see the Heen Dog got DFA'd? I did see it. And, I feel bad for Andrew. He was, I think, a few innings away from getting a $100,000 bonus from the Pirates. So, it's just one of those shady things where, yes, the player agreed to the incentive, but it's come on, man. He was a start away from getting $100,000. I mean, look, maybe that seems like chump change to some of these major leaguers, but for a guy like Andrew Heaney, you're in your 30s. You're trying to make as much money as you can before you're done in the game. It all matters. It all matters. So I think that Heen Dog is an interesting pickup. I don't think he's been outstanding this year, but I don't think he's been terrible either. You look at Andrew Heaney and you look at his numbers over the season. Right now, he's sitting at above a 5 ERA. It's not pretty. And I think if you go to the numbers, you'll see it's been worse in the second half. He actually had a pretty good first half of baseball. I'm going to go to the splits and actually see if I can check this out. Pre-All-Star, look, I don't want to say it was great. He had a 4.59 ERA pre-All-Star break. So not awesome, but when you put it in perspective here, this guy's a fifth starter. A 4.59 ERA for a fifth starter is not terrible. Hey, never forget, Aaron Seeley, my old school Rangers fans, you remember this. Aaron Seeley had a higher ERA than that and got Cy Young votes. No lie. Aaron Seeley had a higher ERA than that 4.59 that I just said for Andrew Heaney, and bro got Cy Young votes back in 1999. He won 18 games because the Rangers offense was insane. But look, 4.59 ERA for a fifth starter, not too shabby. But in the second half, Heaney's been really bad. 8.87 ERA in 5 starts, 7 total games, 22 innings pitched, 22 earned runs since the All-Star break. So I don't know if they're going to take a shot on him. John, it would be a little bit of a feel-good, but still. All right, let's see. Antonio made a comment about going to a pregnancy checkup alone since Smitty's on the road. She said she felt like a single mother. Got it. Yeah, a little bit of drama there. It's tough, man. When you do the influencer thing, and look, I don't want to act like I'm on Josh Smith's wife's level. She's got a ton of followers. We're almost at 10K though. Look, we're getting there, but we're not quite on Claire Smith level. All right, we're not. But I'll say this. You're always going to get nitpicked on social media, man. You just are. I'm sure it was probably intended to be a pretty harmless thing. Maybe even something lighthearted. She thought maybe be funny. And you know what? For somebody, it doesn't hit, and then everybody joins in. It's just like the Micah Parsons stuff, man. one person says it, a bunch of sheep follow, and you know what? It gets blown out of proportion. It doesn't it doesn't really strike me as something that groundbreaking. I'd have to go and look at the drama myself, but everybody always feels the need to be a keyboard warrior at certain times on TikTok and on all the socials. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough out there, y'all. You guys treat me well. I appreciate all you. We get a few knuckleheads coming into the chat every once in a while, but you guys actually do a good job cleaning it up for me. It's kind of nice. Like when we were small, John, you might remember this. Natalie, you might remember this. Like, you get that one person coming in and you try to kind of ignore it. I kind of like now that when you get the knuckleheads coming in, you get people popping back pretty immediately. It's kind of funny, actually. We keep going here. Appreciate the follow, man. Thank you today. Appreciate that. We keep rolling. Pirates did Heaney wrong. Yeah, I think they did. Dre, I got to agree with you. Bro was about to get an incentive. And look, 6 figures is 6 figures. I'm not trying to sit up here and, turn my nose up to 100K or whatever the bonus was, man. It's a bonus. Absolutely. Oh, she apologized and Josh defended her. Good for him, man. I'm going to have to – is this all on TikTok? Was this all on TikTok, Antonio? Swish, appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, John, I'm telling you, Aaron Seeley, look it up. It's the second highest ERA in baseball history to ever get MVP votes. The only guy, it was a so Aaron Seeley in 1999, Texas Rangers history here, had a 4.79 ERA in 1999. He won 18 games for the Rangers, 4.79 ERA, and he got Cy Young votes. That tells you how much times have changed. Now, the only other pitcher to get Cy Young votes with a higher ERA than Aaron Seeley for the Rangers in 99, Mike Mussina for the Orioles had like a 4.81 ERA and managed to get some Cy Young votes. Pretty crazy. 4.81 ERA and you're getting Cy Young votes. 2025 would never. Would absolutely never. 4.81 ERA getting Cy Young is wild. Absolutely wild. I understand it's a business. Antonio, appreciate the comments, man. You're awesome, my guy. Appreciate your support. They definitely agree to it. The players do. They agree to these incentives, and they know full well there is a chance that they get traded or they get DFA'd before they hit the incentive. It's a part of the contract. It doesn't make me feel any better. I just don't think you can totally crap on the team. I do think at the end of the day, like, come on, do the right thing. I don't know how much the Pirates are raking in, though, with some of the ball clubs they're putting out over the last several years. But I think that most of us are going to say, come on, pay the guy. A part of me does kind of push back a little and say, stop agreeing to these incentives when you know that the team is probably going to try to shortchange you, especially if you're pitching for a club like the Pirates. So I'd be interested to get Andrew Heaney's take. Not that he would do a tell-all, but you just kind of wonder, was Andrew Heaney totally blindsided? Was he mad, upset about it? Or is he kind of like, you know what? That's business. I don't know. Starting pitching is reduced to 5 innings. It's a lot different than when Aaron Seeley was on the mound and Mike Mussina was on the mound. It's a lot different. So, yes, the higher ERAs, I think there is something to be said about contextualizing where the game was at in the late 90s versus where it's at in 2025. But it's still just wild to look at. A guy with a 4.81 ERA got Cy Young votes, man. Yeah, he probably should have. Like, I bet if you got him to be candid in an interview, he would say, yeah, writing was on the wall. Hey, not everyone can be a team that gives rewards to accomplishments, even if it wasn't technically done, like making the All-Star team, for example. See what you did there, Brian. Not every organization can be like the Rangers, paying out Nathan Eovaldi for his All-Star bonus, even though he technically was not voted to the All-Star team. Not everyone can be as classy as the Rangers. John, I definitely think it's a real thing But again, I do think that these agents and these players understand that it's a very strong possibility that it happens. I mean, think about it, right? You're signing with the Pirates. Nobody thought the Pirates were going to be good this year. And so Andrew Heaney, when he's signing that deal, he's got to know the Pirates probably aren't winning this year. I'm pitching to make a living, and maybe if I pitch well enough, the Pirates will trade me to a contender. Like, that's got to be his mentality. And then, yeah, the incentives are nice, but I think Andrew Heaney had to have known. I really do. Yeah, the Miz absolutely looking that All-Star appearance is looking a little silly. In the Miz's defense, I think about a bunch of people turned down the All-Star game, which is sad to say out loud, but I don't think it was the Miz getting chosen over people. I think a bunch of people declined the All-Star game, and then it ended up going to the Miz after that. A lot of money given to DeGrom for not a lot back. Let's see how he does next year. I might be able to get a little bit more on board with this take next year. This year, I can't do it. Next year, I think if he has another good year, I think you feel a lot better about the contract. But if next year is a year of injuries, if next year is a down year in any way, I do think that this point has a lot of legs. It basically says a lot of money given to DeGrom for not a lot back. Hey, Sean, appreciate the gift, by the way. Thank you so much. Means a lot. Thank you. I think that at this point, DeGrom has had a year above everyone's expectations. Let's see if he can do it the rest of the contract. But if there's any extended time missed, I probably have to agree with this take. Let's see what happens in 2026, 2027. It's going to be interesting. I do think that the Rangers will be able to win some ball games over the next 6-7 days. I think that they can win against the A's without Seager. I think they can win against the Diamondbacks without Seager. The Houston series is going to be the big test. Houston series is going to be the really big test, honestly. We keep going. Appreciate all y'all. Let me scroll down on TikTok. Is our season salvageable? Sean, yes, but a lot has to go right, and you have got to get godlike performances from Jack Leiter, Wyatt Langford, Jock Peterson, Adolis Garcia. These are not sure bets. In fact, some of them are probably the furthest from a sure bet that you could possibly get, but that's what has to happen. Has to happen. Keep going. Show on an off day. Sean, the only reason we went live today is because I've been so busy over the past 2 days. We didn't go live after Tuesday. We didn't go live after Wednesday. Tuesday, I had every intention of going live, y'all. By the way, I'm so sorry if you had to hang out for a little while and I wasn't around, but I was just flabbergasted with the technology on Tuesday. Rare right on Rangers L with the technology on Tuesday, man. It was just, the internet connection was wonky. My cameras were being weird. It was just a little bit of everything, man. And then it was getting late, and I'm like, you know what? Some days it's just not your day. I'm going to do an off-day show on Thursday, and we'll just go from there. So that's what ended up happening. And then the Parsons news broke, and I'm like, okay, this is perfect. I can talk Micah Parsons. I can talk Rangers. This is great. So that's the only reason we get the off-day show. Otherwise, I would wholeheartedly be taking the day off. Is it y'all's year? Might be. You never know. I would be happy to make the playoffs, JR, but you never know. Can I go off on Jerry Jones? Look, I've said very many times over the course of the years that I've been doing this channel, I would love to see less and less of Jerry Jones. And I told you guys during the summer, the reason why I haven't done more Cowboys content is because so much of it was centered around Jerry's stupid comments and interviews, and it just does nothing for me. Does absolutely nothing for me. I want to actually comment on games, on acquisitions. So, like, this actually interests me. Micah Parsons, you're getting, obviously, a couple of first-round picks. You're getting Kenny Clark. This interests me. Like, this is actual, like, trades, acquisitions, offseason, hot stove. I like this kind of stuff. I don't like the war of words in the interviews, especially with Jerry Jones and the Michael Parsons and you know what I mean? Calling him Michael like 9 million times. And that was like the big story of the summer. And then just all the little stuff, man. It just did not interest me. But now that games are starting to get closer and closer, you're going to see me pop out a little bit more football content. Hey, if you love the show for Rangers, I just have a very simple request. If you love the show for the Rangers and you're not the biggest Cowboys or Longhorns fan, give the video a shot, give it a like, comment, do a little trash talking. If the Cowboys are not your favorite team, it would really go a long way for me continuing to keep this channel on a positive trajectory. We've got a lot of Cowboys followers, a lot of Longhorns followers that love the Rangers. A bunch of you guys I know like the Cowboys as well. But look, even if you're not the biggest Cowboys, not the biggest Longhorns fan, come hang out, talk some trash, enjoy talking ball. It's going to be great. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Jerry is, I wish I could say, you know, when Jerry is, you know, finally out of the picture, whether he steps down or, like I said, whether the good Lord calls him home, I wish I could say that it's going to be a lot different, but it's just not. Stephen Jones, we know, is pretty much fingerprints, hands all over what the Cowboys do transactionally. I don't think it's going to get a whole lot better until both Stephen, Jerry, and really that family stops controlling the moves. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But until that family stops controlling the different roster moves and the draft and everything like that, it's not going to get better. It doesn't matter if Jerry moves on. It matters if Stephen and Jerry both move on. And then if there's nobody else from the family that wants to step up and do it at that point, you just might be in for maybe another decade or two of this, honestly. I think it's just going to get passed right over to Stephen, and we're going to be doing this for 20 more years. I can't switch teams. Like my grandpa, rest in peace, God love him. He was a Cowboys fan, and then he decided to support the Saints because he could not stand Jerry Jones. And I get it. Like a part of me does get it, but I just can't do it. I cannot trade allegiances, y'all. It's just not in my blood. I'm not built that way. As much as I dislike what Jerry Jones does at times with the franchise, I was raised on Cowboys. I love the Cowboys. Die hard, silver and blue, man. Like it's just not going away. I cannot do it. So we're going to be rain or shine, do or die, man. Like it's same way with Rangers baseball. I can't bring myself to cheer for another team. Stars and Mavs mentions this year. I will do Mavs. I just have to be 100% real. And I've said this before. I am not a hockey savant. I am not a hockey expert. I'm an extremely casual hockey fan. I enjoy watching hockey. I definitely am up for talking about the Stars. I know most of the big players. I do not know the entire roster. So if you ever want to talk Stars, it's not necessarily going to be as long-winded as what we get with the Rangers and Cowboys and Longhorns, but I'm down to talk just about any DFW team. Just know, probably in terms of sports knowledge, expertise, hockey, I love watching it, but I'm a little bit down there in terms of the know-how. Football, baseball, top of the line. Love both those sports immensely. Basketball, probably a close second or third. Hockey, though, is a little bit down there. Love hockey, though. Appreciate the follow, man. Thank you, R. Baron. Appreciate you, man. Absolutely, man. I can't do this. You know, I hate Jerry, so I'm going to go support another team. I just can't do it. I'm not hating on you if that's what you've decided to do. I just can't do it. I can't get on board with it. I'm definitely a glutton for punishment when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. Like, I just cannot bring myself to move on. I think we're going to be all right, too. I don't think this is going to be necessarily Super Bowl year, but I wonder if the Cowboys surprise some people. You got so many people thinking they're going to be dog water terrible. I just wonder, do they surprise a few teams along the way, maybe sneak into the playoffs? Don't know if they're going to make any noise when they get there, but I just find it hard to believe Dak, Pickens, Lamb. And look, you've got some other formidable weapons as well. I think that you are going to be surprised with the Cowboys defense too. I think clearly there's going to be a lot of people making a big deal about losing Parsons, but Kenny Clark is not a scrub. In fact, he's probably the complete opposite. And if Kenny Clark can help us in the run game, shoring that up, that could be huge. That was the big issue last year. We just got gashed left and right. Teams just running it down our throat, running right past Micah Parsons, right? Parsons rushing from the outside. Teams would just go right up the middle on us. Screw Parsons, man. We're just going right up the middle. Parsons can run right past the play. That would happen so much. Unless he made one of his patented just elite plays, which would happen from time to time and totally beat his man and got to the play like as it was getting handed off. It happened a couple of times. The Cowboys' rush defense was not good. I really feel pretty confident about the Cowboys surprising people, winning more games than what's expected. Right now, everybody's telling you they're going to be awful. I can't see it. I cannot see them going 13-4 or 12-5 or even 11-6. I think 10-7 is probably the ceiling, and they're probably something more realistically like 8-9 or 9-8. That's where I'm predicting right now. You have to see how the wild card shakes out. If they win 11 games, I would legitimately be shocked. 11 games, I think, would be a huge accomplishment for this squad. Again, I think the ceiling is 10, and the realistic is something more like 8-9. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I would love to be wrong, but the people saying 5 or 6 wins, I just can't see it. Maybe it's the homer in me. Maybe the heart's getting in the way of the head there. I cannot see it. Yeah, look, Brian, that's what I said. I'm going to put a reel out on it tomorrow at some point. I love Micah. The big game disappearances, the big stat on Micah that I'm drawn to, and I know it's cherry picking a little bit, 1 sack in 4 playoff games. Last playoff game against the Packers 2 years ago, one quarterback hurry in like 18 or 19 rush attempts on the quarterback in a playoff game at home against the Packers, a team you were supposed to be. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I love the regular season sacks. I need to see elite in the postseason if I'm giving you a humongous bag and you're just an edge rusher. $48 million. The one thing I will say, if you really don't like the Parsons trade, the one bone I can throw to you is this. The Cowboys should have locked him up sooner. And if you would have done that, you could have paid him a lot less. You probably could have paid him somewhere in the high 30s if you extended him a couple years ago. If you extended him last year, you probably could have paid him like 40 even. And I think the Cowboys probably would have done that deal. I still probably would have been a little bit nervous and hesitant, but I probably would have done that deal. I think it's going to work out for the Cowboys. There were times last year where my real good buddies and I said, I think you can trade this guy and still be a similar team. I don't think you trade Micah Parsons and suddenly you're no longer a Super Bowl contender. Let's see how he does in Green Bay. I am actually legitimately intrigued. How does he play in Green Bay? And that Week 4 matchup is going to be straight fire. That Week 4 matchup when we play the Packers is going to be straight fire. I'm pumped for that. And wouldn't it be something if he went off on the Cowboys or vice versa? It's just a complete goose egg for Micah. I could see either one happening, honestly. But I'm okay with not paying an edge rusher $48 million. That's quarterback money. And you're not getting quarterback impact from Micah Parsons. You're not. So I think the Packers, good on them. They get better defensively. Look, you trade, obviously, Kenny Clark. You trade the inside for the outside rush. We'll see how it works out for him. But for me, I'm okay with the trade. And anybody saying that the Cowboys got fleeced. It's a terrible trade, the worst trade ever. Luka 2.0. I don't like to use this expression a lot, but it just feels like the ball-knowing skills are lacking a little bit. Like I said, I hate to throw that out there, but Luka 2.0 is total clickbait. Worst trade ever, total clickbait. Seen a lot worse trades than a first-round pick in 26, a first-round pick in 27, and an extremely above-average Kenny Clark for Micah Parsons. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Appreciate all y'all so far commenting in, chiming in. Yeah, the cornerbacks, look, cornerbacks would be nice. We'll see what they do. Sounds like you're more in denial. Not at all, honestly. How could I be in denial? Again, what I just said is last year I had floated out trading Micah Parsons. There's no denial. Like, I'm not blindsided by this move. Neither do I think that, it's a terrible move. Last year I said the Cowboys could probably trade Micah, get some value out of him. And at that point, if you would have traded him last year, you probably could have gotten a little more. So those are the knocks against Jerry Jones. You could have traded him last year. You could have signed him for cheaper last year. For me, I'm okay with the trade. I don't know that I saw it coming, but I'm not shocked by it by any means. Luka did way more for the Mavs. Brian, this well said. Appreciate the comment. And look, a couple of you guys, Robbie, you kind of said the same thing as well, man. Thanks for the comments. Luka was way more valuable to the Mavs than Micah Parsons ever was to the Cowboys. Micah Parsons, elite player, probably top 5 defensive player in the NFL. But again, Luka 2.0, let's get real. Let's get real. It's not Luka 2.0. That's clickbait right there. I mean, borderline, I don't want to say rage bait, but it almost makes me mad. Like, how dare you compare the Luka trade to this one? Luka was a heartbreaker. This ain't a heartbreaker, man. I don't know. There's probably some people, some Cowboys fans that are heartbroken about Micah leaving. I'm not there. I'm just not there. I liked Micah Parsons, but I'm not there. My heart was a little broke. Honestly, my heart was a little bit broke when Luka got traded. Like, it took me a couple days to get over it. I don't feel anything like that with this Micah Parsons trade. You agree? You agree? Appreciate all y'all hanging out. Thank you so much. All right, we keep going. Luka was the team 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely he was. Rangers played great yesterday, and go Rangers. I'm really excited for Saturday for the Longhorns game and hook 'em. Hey, Tristan, what's good? Thanks for hanging out, man. Good to see you. Appreciate you supporting the show. Yeah, I'm excited for Saturday. I'm going to have a Longhorns video out at some point, either on Friday night or on Saturday morning before the game. So I'm pumped. It's going to be about Arch and the overrated stuff. I've already got it cooked up. I've got the Parsons draft cooked up. I'm ready to go, man. I am ready to go. I've got both of those reels on deck. Please go out and support them when they come your way. Do I think the Horns win? I think it's going to be a really good game. I do think that the Horns have a very legitimate shot of winning the football game. Now, I'm not going to go one way or the other. You're not going to see me overreact to a loss. This is a tough game, right? I don't think that losing this game tanks the season. With the expanded playoffs, look, it's really all good. If you lose this game, you can still have everything in front of you with playoff hopes, national championship hopes, and this isn't going to get held against you. You lose in the big house, you lose in the horseshoe, the big house, Michigan. You lose in the horseshoe to Ohio State. I don't think anybody is going to hold that against you. 1 versus 3. It's a lot of fun. But let's look at the odds right now. Right now, you have got, let's see, Texas plus 1.5. Is that where we're at? Texas plus 1.5. Now, just for perspective, Texas was plus 3 in the beginning of August. Texas was like plus 3. So this tells you that a lot of people are betting the Longhorns. If a number comes down 1.5 like that, clearly Texas is getting bet. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to win, but it is interesting to me. Texas now down to +1.5. They were +3 probably late July, beginning of August. So I'm curious to see what this line does over the next couple of days. I think it probably hangs right around here. I think Texas wins. I'm going to go Texas wins. Shocker, right? But I would not be surprised if they pull it off. I think that Ohio State's got a really good squad. Texas defense is elite. I think it's going to be a little low scoring. I don't think we're going to see a ton of points. I might probably shade that under 47.5. I think it's going to be a tight game, but I think Texas is going to prevail. I like what they've got on both the offense and defensive side. They've got some new guys on offense. I think that scares me more than anything. Arch has obviously started a couple of games. It's not like this is his first start. Some people kind of have that a little twisted. He's gotten some big game opportunity. He played in the A&M game at Kyle Field, one of the most raucous environments in college football. I don't think Arch is going to be rattled when he goes to the Horseshoe. You played at Kyle Field. I think he's going to be okay. I think Texas wins a close one. We'll see what happens. But I got, like I said, a couple videos coming out to y'all over the next 36 hours. It's going to be great. Texas Tech takes the Big 12. Sean, there we go. There we go. Reed, you think whoever wins exactly by 10? All right, I'm going to remember that one. Seriously. All right, let me say goodbye to all y'all. Appreciate you guys. I'm with you on this. I think Coach Sark has got the team and just that entire program locked in right now. I really do. Tristan, have a good night, man. Again, thanks for tuning in, buddy. Appreciate you. Let's see. We definitely are, Brian. I'm with you on this. If there's a championship for any team, even Stars, would I go live to celebrate? Oh, 100%. I would get on just to hang out with you guys. Definitely. If the Stars won, I would absolutely get on, talk Stars with you guys. I definitely would do any championship like that. Big DFW, Texas sports, I'm probably going to be on to talk about it at some point. Jeremy, I'm with you on the turnover battle. If Arch can protect the football and avoid the interceptions, not put the ball on the ground, I mean, we're not talking rocket science here, but yeah, that's going to be huge. Overall trade thoughts, not shocked. I think that the people saying worst trade ever are hot taken. The Cowboys avoid paying almost $50 million a year for an edge rusher. That's quarterback money, and you're not getting quarterback impact from Micah. I think that it's an okay trade. I think obviously Kenny Clark is going to help you in the run game. The first round picks, I don't know how valuable they're going to be. The Packers are probably going to be pretty good over the next couple of years. I don't think that you're going to get super high picks from the Packers 26 and 27 first rounders. But I do like you avoid paying the big salary to an edge rusher. I really do. Yeah, Brian, I would, because you know what? Whenever the Golden Knights go out, I pretty much go Stars. Stars were my childhood team growing up. I mean, I watched the Stars a lot when I lived in Arlington. And the Knights kind of being the organic expansion Vegas team that they were. I think I've told you guys the story. I won't bore you, but clearly big tragedy in Las Vegas in 2017. Huge mass shooting. And it just really bonded the city, the Knights. And it was actually first game of the franchise was against the Stars. And that was a super emotional game. It was literally like same day or the day after the horrible tragedy happened. And it was just hard not to fall in love with that team. I still love the Stars, but I definitely find myself cheering for the Knights first and foremost. I know there's a rivalry, Stars-Knights. It's tough for me, honestly. But when the Knights get knocked out, it's 100% Stars. Jeremy, yep, I'm with you on that. And a lot of people just like to crap on the Cowboys anyway, so it is what it is. A lot of people like to just talk trash on the Cowboys. Everything they do is the worst move ever. A lot of hot takes, man. Appreciate you. Let's see. The red hat is the City Connect. So this is the Peagle. This is the Ranger City Connect, kind of one of their alternate City Connect hats. All right, let's see. What do we got? Stars fan, hate Vegas and Colorado. Sean, I hear you. I know a lot of Stars fans do not like Vegas at all. You know what? It's all good. Like I said, it's not a lot of hockey on the show, but I know a little bit of the few players here and there on other teams. I keep up with the Knights and I keep up with the Stars for sure. But look, it's not right on Stars. I don't profess to be a hockey savant, but I do enjoy watching it, and we'll have some fun with it. You know we will. Hate the Avs more? Yeah, I can't say the Knights and the Avs get along too well either. Can't stand Stone. Jeremy, yep. I know I'm like the only one, but I hope you understand the connection. It's definitely honestly coming by it. Grew up in Arlington, moved out to Vegas, and I don't know. You'd have to live here and go through everything to completely get it. I'm sure you'll have to trust me. It was just a wild start to the Knights and their expansion team out here. But the Knights and Stars have battled it out so many postseasons. It's actually kind of wild how many times they've met. I definitely am wondering about that too. I'm excited for the A's to get out here. I really am. Hey, congratulations. Congratulations. OKC getting a championship. Look, a championship's a championship. I know a lot of people give the Thunder a hard time. And I got to say, it's just not easy winning one. And you never know when you're going to be back. So I'm totally with you. Celebrate that one forever, man. If I go to the games, will we still get post-game shows? Yeah, hopefully I'll be like in the press box with the field in the background, man, doing Right on Rangers. That would be awesome. Totally a big game against the A's, and I'm excited to see what they do this weekend. I really hope, really hope that they have a good showing in Sacramento. Yep, Parsons to the Packers. We'll see how it goes for both sides. Brian, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I really don't. But you know what? I try to do it with my own best friends, and I'm not sure how good of a job I'm doing. If I'm able to pull this off, that would be pretty impressive, though. No lie. Rangers offense keeps it up on the road. Sean, I sure hope so. I'm going to say we win 2 out of 3 in Sacramento. That's my prediction. I'm sticking to it. 2 out of 3. I don't think we sweep. I don't think we lose the series. I don't think we get swept. I think we win 2 out of 3. Let's see how we do. What about Arizona? Let's see. Arizona, I think we get 2 out of 3 there too. I don't know if we sweep. It's just tough, y'all. With Seager, I might have said we get a sweep. Without Corey, I'm feeling just a little less confident than I normally would. But I am ready. I am ready to watch some baseball tomorrow. Let's see how much fight this team has, right? Let's see how much fight they have. Has Langford figured it out? My goodness, I hope so. Like, we need Langford to be elite. We need Dolly elite. We need Jock Peterson elite. 4 out of 6 on a road trip would be solid. If we can get 4-2, that's going to work. 5-1 would be outstanding. 6-0 would be Cloud 9, baby. Cloud 9. Grew up in Anaheim. My team was great in the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, look, the Angels have had a tough go of late, for sure. The mid to late 2010s and 2020s have been a little tough on Angels fans, but it can change quickly. It really can. All right, y'all. I got to head out. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out. We will be back tomorrow post-game. I'll have a couple of reels out your way. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great weekend. Come back and hang out. If you haven't hit that follow button yet, hit that follow button. We talk a little bit of everything Rangers during baseball season. We're going to start talking a lot of football too. It's going to be awesome. I appreciate you guys' support so much. Means everything. Don't take it for granted. Come back and hang out again this weekend. We'll be live multiple times. We'll be live after Saturday's game. We will do probably maybe a Rangers live as well. It might be a busy day for us. It's going to be great. We're looking forward to it. Football is back, baby. Hook 'em horns. And hopefully our Cowboys can pull it together as well. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday night. We'll see y'all tomorrow. And as I always say to end every show, God bless